Hi, gentlemen. Welcome.
Morning.
We are here to discuss very interesting topic. We've just heard the data about tech ecosystem development. It's no longer a question whether Cyprus is a tech island. We have 16% of the GDP of the tech sector. It's tremendous, fastest growth in Europe. It's amazing. Here we are to talk about ecosystem development, about an infrastructure, about what is happening on the startup and AI ecosystem. Recently, there was this memorable trip which brought us really many headlines. The trip of the president to Silicon Valley happened last year. There was many important meetings with OpenAI, with Amazon, with other prominent investors, and we see an outcome of this trip 1 year after, and plug and place here. This is huge and important development for the ecosystem, but also, of course, the NVIDIA thing. There was a lot of buzz around the media. So let's discuss it and let's unpack what it means for ecosystem, for startup, for researchers, for students. Konstantinos, let's start from you, because you are behind the scenes, knowing how it works. You're the closest region to what happened in Silicon Valley. And you know the foundation. Take us inside the substance of what is being built right now in terms of AI infrastructure, national facility, the Pharos AI factory. What physical capabilities do we finally have on the island, and what opportunities does it bring to researchers and startups?
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Tanya. Indeed, many things came from that visit in April of 2024, one being plug and play, and another being a lot of momentum in the realm of AI, especially in infrastructure, and through the collaboration with NVIDIA that was mentioned earlier by Artemis, that we can talk about later. But on the issue of infrastructure, so when the president met all these big companies and have seen all this momentum on building huge data centers, etc., and giving the capacity, we realized that in Cyprus we had a critical gap in computational capacity to support AI and data-intensive research and innovation. And that gap caused our academia, our industry, our government even to rely increasingly on foreign providers. And that caused issues of data sensitivity, on sovereignty, and drained R&D budgets, right? So what we did, our approach was, when it came to infrastructure, it was twofold. On the one hand, we invested in a national HPC AI infrastructure, something small to medium scale within the means of our country. It's not a huge data center that we've seen built abroad, but it is an infrastructure that gives access to our users in Cyprus, to our ecosystem, industry, academia, government, and whatever, to test, to pilot, and to develop their AI workloads and applications, etc. And then we created Pharos, this project that connects the ecosystem to the Europe's network of HPC facilities, the Euro HPC and the AI factories. Actually, Pharos is called AI Factory Antenna. So it's connecting the Cyprus ecosystem to the big machines of Europe. So essentially, what we have been doing, we are creating an edge machine to test, to pilot, to develop, and then we are giving them the opportunity to have access to the big machines to scale up in Europe through Pharos.
Do you want to walk us through on how this will be accessible to startups, and when, and what will be the process?
Excellent question. We decided in terms of buildings, instead of building something already, we decided to build on solid foundations. So we had the National Supercomputing Facility at the Cyprus Institute. It had an aged architecture. It was actually catering only to HPC applications, not really to AI. So what we did, we partnered up with NVIDIA, and this is where NVIDIA comes in, and we can talk about it later. And we updated, we replaced the old age architecture with new state-of-the-art GPUs. Don't worry, I'm not going to be technical. I'm not a technical guy. And then the machine is ready, and it will be open to the public in 2 months. We hope around July. So now it's being, with the help of NVIDIA, the system is brought up and calibrated and validated. So hopefully by mid-July, we will have it open. And it used to be open before. Many companies, startups, SMEs, they had access to the machine, of course, academia researchers. And this is what we aim to have it open. And now with the GPUs and the AI capability, actually we are increasing tremendously the pool of potential users. It's going to be open. Details on how you can access it and for how long and cost, etc. This will be all announced. But the way it was happening before is that there was these calls for pilots, and then there were these big calls for large-scale things. So I think more or less we're going to be on the same thing. It's on a competitive basis if it's for big things, but open if it's for small things, etc. But more details will be announced hopefully soon by July.
Thank you, Konstantinos. This is an interesting development, and we are lucky to actually hear this today from Konstantinos first time publicly. So, Alfredo, turning to you, plug and play in Cyprus. You are in over 60 locations globally. You could have gone anywhere else. Why you chose Cyprus? Why Cyprus is right bet for you right now? And what specific core value will you bring to founders locally?
Well, first of all, good morning, everyone. I think, let me start by, cracking a little joke. I think one more trip of the president to Silicon Valley and Konstantinos will age 10 more years, right? I think that's how this all came to life, right? And, it really comes to, at the end of the day, to the vision that people have, right? And a lot of the times, we talk about what is the vision and where do we want to be as a country, right? Where does Cyprus want to be as a country? And what are, our strengths, our weaknesses? How can we double down on those strengths and make sure that we can also still support the ecosystem? I mean, I think we all know for a strong ecosystem, right, we need many different stakeholders. We need from academia, we need government policies, we need startups, we need investors, we need the whole infrastructure to be there. TechIsland. So I think, the role of plug and play, and you said it, right? We're present in 62 locations, and why Cyprus? For us, it was also a strategic move, right? Because on one side, there was the vision to back the founders that are in the island, to help them expand, to help them grow, to help them and provide them maybe that technical assistance that sometimes they've been missing, right? With international mentors from other countries, help them facilitate those corridors with MENA region, with Europe, with Central Asia. So for us, the vision was there is the great talent, there is the great human capital that is coming out from universities, that is already in the island, from diaspora, coming back to the country with the brain drain program that is being in place in Cyprus, as well as all the other people that have relocated to Cyprus, right? So it has the perfect set of skill sets that you need to make an ecosystem successful. So for us, it was really about, if we have all the elements or the ingredients for success, it makes sense to have that regional hub. The big challenge, and this is not a Cyprus problem, this is a global problem, there's a big disconnect in terms of R&D to GDP, right? And this is something that I think the industry is partly to blame for, and I don't want to come here and say how great everything is. I want to come here and be critical as well, to say where can we improve together as as a country, as industry, private sector, and some of the key industries, right? Maritime plays such a big role in the country. we want to push technology because we have the startups, we have the technology, we have the innovation, and we're competitive there, right? So for us at Plug and Play, beyond the programs and the founding partners that have made this possible with Totoseo Global, with ASBIS, with MasterCard, with EconBX, and with the Research and Innovation Foundation, we've put together a 3-year program which touches on 6 different industries: energy, maritime, AI, gaming, fintech, and industry agnostic. So we're really looking forward to starting working with the startups and start to actually deliver those results in terms of new opportunities, new exports, new jobs that contribute to the economy.
This is amazing. What will happen after 3 years?
So after 3 years, we hope to close that gap between R&D to GDP. We hope to have the industry much more active, and we hope to be able to continue running the programs only with the industry. So our end goal is to actually, like we do in many of our other locations, use the industry, use the corporations that are in the country to transform, right? At the end of the day, it's a mixture between cultural transformation, right? A lot of them being more legacy or being foreign direct investors into the country. We want to make sure that, Oracle doesn't build everything from Cyprus, but actually contributes, right? In terms of that R&D in the country. And that's something that we see most of the corporates in other countries and locations, and for that we need the academia infrastructure, we need the researchers, the scientists, and we need to bring that to life. But for that, we need all the elements of the chain. So what happens after 3 years? We want the corporates to play the biggest role in the island as well.
Indeed. And especially given the fact that ecosystem of Cyprus consists of mature companies. So there are many corporates which actually can further support the program. And it would be great to see if there could be cases that startups from Plug and Play will be actually acquired or partnered even with existing corporates.
I think that's something that happens in a lot of the smaller ecosystems, right? You have the VCs, which play the key role in terms of capital and so on, but also the VCs at one point need to give back those returns to their LPs, right? And they also need to find some exit opportunities for the startups, right? And it can't just be international companies coming and acquiring the startups and then taking them or just keeping this as a back office, right? We need to make sure that also there is some consolidation, that the local players play a role in it, and so on. And part of it is making sure that corporates are much more excited about corporate venture capital, making sure that they're more excited about working with startups. And that's kind of the message that we're here to push for and that we've been pushing globally for the last 20 years.
Yeah, and high hopes, of course, on bringing venture capital investors which are still on the early stage in our ecosystem. Okay, turning to academia. There was another big headline from Silicon Valley visit of the president that Columbia University partnered with TPAC and made a dual degree program. I don't know if you, Antonis, want to comment something about it and also about the another university which you are partnering as UNIC with. But UNIC was always catching big waves and seeing the trends ahead of other universities. So now we have this infrastructure. Now we have Plug and Play, global accelerators. So how does this physical network and also this access to global network of startups, corporates, investors will change what university must deliver today?
Sure. Let me start high level for a second. We are preparing for the 2030s. We're preparing for a world where any cognitive activity can be done in a data center. It is going to be impossible to be competitive in a cognitive activity. We're preparing for a world of general purpose physical robotics. So if you want to have differentiated infrastructure, you have to work backwards. You have to answer the question, why can't Sam Altman do it in a data center in Austin? Our bet here is that the answer is biology. Biology is astronomically complex, and it is place-based. What Valentinos metabolomics are today, we can only know by taking blood from Valentinos. How much phenolic content there is in this year's olive oil harvest from Evrichou. We have to check this year's olive oil harvest in Evrichou. What are the pollutants in today's environment here in Limassol? You have to know it here. So this initiative is called Unic Evolve. It is our research and ecosystem platform. We have so far invested 100 million euros. We are heading to about 1 billion, and it is a joint Greece-Cyprus project as follows. This combines AI. These teams are based in Cyprus, as you saw earlier. Cyprus is very strong in ICT. Greece has some work to be done. The second part is deep omics, life sciences, and this is based in our new campus in Athens. We are the first non-state medical school, law school, life and health sciences, pharmacy, et cetera, in Greece. And here, we have to be near where the patient and participant population is. Cyprus is too small to support these studies. Greece and Cyprus together, you can get there. You can find the cohorts you need. And so rather than shipping 90% of the samples to Cyprus, we will ship 10% of the samples to Greece from our campus here. There we are running, as of this month, the highest capacity university genomics lab in the Mediterranean, one of the top analytical chemistry labs, and we're on a pathway, if everything goes well, to be the largest in Europe. Now, what does this mean in terms of partnerships and infrastructure? We are heading to a world of scale. AI is going to make small startups trivial, right? And so this is not a project we can do by ourselves. Our first major academic partner is Purdue University. They are one of the top 5 engineering schools in the United States after MIT, Stanford, Berkeley, and Caltech. They're number 1 in analytical chemistry, number 1 in biological engineering. They just did a $250 million deal with Eli Lilly. Number 2 is Pure Health, who is the owner of Hellenic Healthcare Group, who has the largest hospitals in Cyprus and Greece. They have 13,000 hospital beds. We need this for patients. As we convert their hospitals to university hospitals, will be the largest university hospitals in the world. We have partnership with EGEDA. It's the top research center of Greece. They're involved in this. They're number 5 in EU AI projects, and University of Patras. So to answer the broader ecosystem question, we need to make a platform of hard infrastructure. And we think, obviously, the platform itself is going to work, but this also supports a whole new class of startups that today we do not have in Cyprus, that today Cyprus is uncompetitive for, because you need gene sequencers, you need LC-MS machines, you need proteomics machines. These things are hard, they're technical. We see our role as being able to do them. It's hard for a startup to do them. Some of these machines are millions of euros each. They require technical staff. And I have a theory, which will play out. I actually think Greece's and Cyprus' strongest AI play in the 2030s, not yet, it's still immature, is going to be in precision, preventative medicine, and longevity. AI is going to revolutionize space travel, but Elon's going to do that. It's going to revolutionize quantum computing. California is going to do that. We're not competitive in rockets or quantum computing. But we are in the most bioactive region in the world. The Mediterranean diet, which is primarily the Greek and Cypriot diet, replicates. And it is totally comically under-characterized, under-sequenced. As you said, we tend to play 5 to 10 years ahead. All the things mentioned in the panel are the state of now. This is where Cyprus is strong now. We are trying to lay the infrastructure for what will happen in the 2030s.
So longevity is your bet. Cyprus is becoming blue zone.
Health span, longevity, and biodefense, these 3.
Amazing, very interesting. Okay, let's talk about startups. You mentioned also that AI is transforming everything, and startups and startup ecosystem in Cyprus is in a very early stage. We have startup visa in Cyprus. It still has some limitations, which we are reviewing as TechIsland. So I'm curious to listen, Alfredo, to your bet and your view that founders now simply making MVPs and making products not already even in weeks, in days sometimes. AI-enabled teams, agents, no-code solutions, smaller teams. From your perspective, what kind of founders should Cyprus be producing to stay competitive? How companies and how maybe plug and play will make all these no-code solutions or simple AI-enabled startups actually investable and unbeatable and interesting and growing? And maybe a few points on what could be a level up for our ecosystem in this coming 3 years.
I think, it really depends how you look at it, right? Because nowadays, you mentioned it, the concept that we used to have with, the pre-seed rounds, right? Usually you would raise a small pre-seed to build your MVP. Now that is gone, right? Because you already tend to come with an MVP. And even for us, for us as an investor, right? And we are investing, to put it in perspective for everyone, into one startup every day. Every year we're doing more than 250 investments. So now, every time a startup comes to us, we're already looking for that traction, even for the first check, right? So I think that it's a completely different mindset and change that, whereas before, we were, still betting and on the founders, the teams, and so on. Now we're already expecting the founders to come with that early revenue. I think what also has changed, and we see the change as well, founders have realized that if they're capable of having that early revenue, maybe they don't want to raise money, right? I think the concept of unicorn has been burned down the lines. And I think that's something important, right? We need unicorns, yes, don't take me wrong. We have 38 of them, and if we could have 60, we would love to have 60. But a lot of the founders now have realized that they no longer want to go through the whole, suffering of having to go through the fundraising and so on and so forth. And, I think this links very much to what you were asking it also on this same question, which it reflects on how we act together as an ecosystem, right? Because, okay, you have the distinction, because what we have in the future, what we have right now for startups. So I think it's just important that the startups also have that change in mindset. I think that's coming. I think we're, like we said before, right? We're seeing more founders be ready already from day zero. And we want to see what are the strengths and weaknesses in the ecosystem, right? Because at the end of the day, there might be areas where we can easily double down, right? And yes, of course, Europe has this strong strategic bet on deep tech and, pumping in millions and billions into it through the different EIC programs and EIBs and Fs and whatever. But, but at the end of the day, it's true, right? At the end of the day, we're making a bet for the future as Europe, right? And this is something that won't pay off this year or next year. It will take many years until it actually pays off. And it is important as well that we have to support them, the infrastructure, which is being built right now, but as well as the additional support mechanisms, right? That those startups that are here, they need to be able to grow in new markets. They need to be able, we also are conscious of the domestic market, right? It's built in Cyprus, but sell everywhere.
What is your target currently? Because you opened the call for startups.
Yep.
You are starting a batch in June.
Yes.
Tell us some good statistics. Do you see investable startups?
Yes. So far we have received 150 startup applications into the program, which is a very impressive number. I think 92% of them are from Cyprus, living in Cyprus, operating in Cyprus. Do we see investable startups? Yeah, there are some that could be relevant. I think for the distinction for us, a lot of the times, every startup that we invest in, we bring to our global IC in California, right? And that's a challenge that sometimes we have, because we might have the best startups here in Cyprus, but is it the best globally? At the end of the day, we're looking from a global lens, and that's kind of what we make. But yeah, I hope also before the end of the year we can also announce the first investment in Cyprus.
Amazing, amazing. Looking forward to it. Okay, Konstantinos, coming back to NVIDIA, dive us into this huge headline. What is this specific partnership? What does it mean? Will it drain our resources? How people were commenting. So what's happening, and what does NVIDIA brings as an add-on to just GPUs for the infrastructure?
So this came from that trip. And as Alfredo said, another trip, and until 2030, that
He's going to need a lot of longevity there.
Unique is going to be solving the longevity issue. We're going to be keep following up on our president's initiatives. So NVIDIA was one of them, right? And we created a collaboration, a partnership, and it's a strategic partnership that I would say has three main pillars. One is the infrastructure that we discussed earlier. So the machine is using NVIDIA GPUs, and NVIDIA is helping us and advising us and helping us bring up the machine. They also donated 2 Grace Hoppers, very state-of-the-art, experimental, that are being validated now with the team there and being developed. So it's a great opportunity for us to be part of this, global effort to improve infrastructure in AI, and they're helping us, as I said, optimize the infrastructure. Then there is another pillar, which is NVIDIA advising us and supporting us in increasing our research capacity. So the idea is that we bring researchers and engineers from NVIDIA, we couple them with local talent, with local teams, and they are supporting them in, porting their algorithms, deploying their algorithms on GPUs and optimization, etc. This is not a plan. This is something that is already been done. The same way the machine is there, same way we have this. We have the first case study. We have a climate modeling team that, as you said earlier, is very important. We have a climate modeling team that they are monitoring air pollution, etc. They have been working with researchers and engineers, NVIDIA researchers and engineers from France and from Israel, and they have been helping them optimize their codes and preparing them to run on the big machines of Europe that I was saying earlier, and incorporating AI elements, etc. So this is the second pillar. So infrastructure, advanced support, increasing our research capacity, and then the third pillar is ecosystem enable them. So we want to enable our ecosystem. We want to help our startups, our founders, our engineers, our companies elevate their AI skills. So we have a train the trainers approach. So we have already 2 experts from Cyprus that have been trained by NVIDIA, and this will be the seat that they will train more people. We trained already 2, and we're going to be training more at NVIDIA, at the Deep Learning Institute there. And we plan a series of events from AI days to hackathons, to boot camps, where we're going to have these trainers and NVIDIA trainers joining and opening up for startups, for SMEs, for academia, these events for people to get trained and elevate their skills in AI. So this is more or less the idea of the collaboration with NVIDIA.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Antonis, let's talk about the talent retention. Now we have a huge discussion about the brain drain initiatives, mine Cyprus initiatives. How do we flip the narrative from just simply brain drain and returning everyone back to ensuring that ambitious Cypriots see Cyprus as actually their launch pad to the world, when geography doesn't matter anymore, when AI is changing the borders? Is it possible with this kind of ecosystem development and with this futuristic and forward-thinking view of Unique and yourself?
I think it's the same question. I think the reason that an ambitious 25 or 30-year-old won't leave is the same issue that would bring back a highly qualified 40-year-old or 45-year-old. Our best hires the last 10 years have been Cypriot or Greek diaspora, So people who, Cyprus and Greece, because many people left, not just now, for a century, have huge external populations. And with a lot of success in tech, research, life sciences, one of the things we provide specifically is a home for specialized skills. This was very much the case 10 years ago, where Cyprus was a fantastic place if you were an accountant, but if you are a physicist or a bioinformaticist or whatever, it's very difficult to find a pathway. Things have gotten better now. We have an IT industry. But the opportunity is very large because the quality of life in Cyprus and in some parts of Greece can be very high, right? What has generally been the case is the career progression, the career opportunities. All of the generalized infrastructure things are good ideas. I do believe, speaking to many Cypriot entrepreneurs, Cypriot startup teams, we still have a significant cultural adjustment, okay? I mean the following. It's two aspects. One, and I think plug and play can really help here. I don't think the ecosystem still fully understands the pace and aggression of Silicon Valley. A long time ago, when Apoel made it to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, they did a stat that said each, I don't know, it was Real Madrid player ran 12 kilometers during the match, and each Apoel player ran 9 kilometers. It's something like this, but it's probably double, right? And so this is the exact opposite of Siga, right? Siga is my absolute most hated word the last 10 years I've been here. And so every person that says Siga gets yelled at. We have to pick up the pace. We have to tell our young people to pick up the pace. We have to tell them it is excellent to work 80 hours a week. Nothing is free in life. You cannot compete against the most psychotic people in the world in San Francisco and take it easy. Arguably, you have to be more psychotic than them, because if you're equally good as the team in San Francisco, they're going to win. They have the network effects of San Francisco. This, even the government doesn't say this. No one comes out and says, you need to sit on Saturday night at home working, okay? Nothing is free. You're not going to win the Champions League by training less than Ronaldo. You have to somehow train more than Ronaldo, okay? This is bucket one. And then bucket two, which in principle is easier, but it still needs work. Cyprus seems to forget that we're part of the European Union sometimes. I still see too many ideas that are focused on Cyprus as an end market. Obviously, Cyprus should never be the end market. We're in a unified economic zone of 500 million people, of which we're 1 million. Cyprus should be where you go to bed at night. Cyprus should maybe be where you have your office. You have the internet. There are 12 Aegean flights a day to get to Greece and from there to anywhere else. People need to be on the plane more. People need to travel more. People need to be thinking from day one, how can I unlock France? How can I unlock Germany? How I can unlock the United States? And so these things sound soft, but they shape the way people think about their ideas. Those ideas come here to our new friends and colleagues, and they say, this team's not going to make it. There's a team in London or Tel Aviv or the United States that's more ambitious. And so I think it is very, very important to use you as the catalyst to come out and say this message publicly. There is no free lunch. Tech is the most competitive market in the world. You have to work. We have to tell our young people they need to work, okay? That doesn't quite come out yet from anyone's messaging, including the government, including the state. We have to work harder. So,
this is an amazing finishing of our panel discussion. Yes. Our time is up, so I will turn into the questions from the audience. Artemis, can we check? Just one. Because there's so many. Okay. funding mechanism, we can go on the panel discussion with Reef, and they will tell you about the funding mechanism. What is some
I can quickly answer some of the plug-and-play ones if you want. There's
do.
3 of my colleagues somewhere there if you want to raise your hand as well. So if anyone has a question on plug-and-play, 1 here and 2 more there. So if anyone has a question, feel free to approach us afterwards. Application is open until Friday. So if you're interested, you still have 1 more day, 6 areas. I think there was another question of focus. Gaming, fintech, maritime, energy, AI, and industry agnostic. So that's also worth mentioning. Timeline, we're going to be starting in June, and then we'll, maybe now after what Antonis said, we shouldn't have a summer break. We should just, have the batch run through July and August as well. But I think those are the areas on the question.
Yeah, and on the first question regarding the funding, I really advise you to go to the Research Foundation panel discussion, which will be on Doers, and they will tell, a full panel will be dedicated to funding mechanism to such startups. Thank you very much. It was very interesting conversation. And Artemis, the floor is yours.